founded, he will.
It's the Skinny on Sports Podcast with Aaron Cowk.
I throw balls far. You want good words? Data language.
Talk real sports with a real man.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
And now, here's the be-all, end-all, know-it-all of high school, college, and pro sports. Aaron Skinny Cowk with the Skinny on Sports.
We're talking about practice, man. I'm the MVP.
Good Thursday morning out there, Western Oklahoma. Welcome to the Skinny on Sports right here on 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal. Glad to have you along for the next hour. Big Elk TV is going to be busy tonight, Jared. Busy. Big Elk football, a huge softball game, district ramifications. It's going to be a busy night. We'll tell you what's going on there. Also, some other huge games around the state in high school football. College football back tonight.
Yeah.
In my mind, really kind of starts tonight. Last week was sort of an appetizer. Tonight's the start. Florida, Utah. No Cam Rising.
Yee.
Tough break for the Utes. And a stat about Florida that will boggle your mind.
What could that be?
Just their non-conference games and leaving the state of Florida to play them. How long it's been. It will boggle your mind how long it's been since they've done what they're going to do tonight. Also this weekend, what player or players are you most excited to see at OU or OSU? Or both of them. Give me a guy on each of those teams that nobody's talking about right now that by the end of the year is going to be a household name. Then I want you to – this first part's going to be hard for you, Jared, because of your pessimistic nature. I need you to get on and just think of rainbows and sunshine and give me your most optimistic season that Oklahoma and Oklahoma State could have. And then the second one's going to be pretty simple for you. Doomsday scenario for both. Okay?
Okay.
Talk a little bit about what happened last night at Nebraska. Holy Moses. Incredible what they did for the volleyball game. Is there anything that could possibly rival what the Cornhuskers fans did last night? I'm sure everybody's immediately rushing to one thing in this state. I've got some bad news for you on that.
You call me pessimistic?
No, well, the mechanics of it to try to break that record. And then Jared will have the lowdown on the talk of the town. And that is the sorry pieces of trash trying to ruin the 85th Rodeo of Champions. 225-9698 is the phone or the text line. That's 225-9698. Give us a call, shoot us a text. We can talk about any of those things. Whatever else might be on your mind, feel free to chime in at 225-9698. If you're going to be outside the listening area one of these days and you want to listen to us live, easy peasy. Log on to kadsam.com, or even better, if I were you, download the free Paragon Communications app. Why is it better? Well, it gives you all kinds of options. It gives you all three radio stations under the Paragon umbrella. It gives you the ability to look at the Penny News online. Go pick up a free copy of that Penny News. The print edition is out everywhere as we speak. It also gives you the ability to watch Big Elk and Paragon TV. Big Elks tonight. You'll have Merritt and Hollis tomorrow. I mean, it's just great stuff available for free. Did I mention that? No, that word free? Free download.
Yeah, don't let – go ahead.
Free
Sorry.
download on Paragon for the Paragon app.
That's right.
What were you going to say? Do you have something
No.
to add?
No, I was trying to be smart. No, I typically was not smart.
Oh.
I had a smart comment. I thought you were talking about the Penny News. I was like, don't let the name fool you. It's not a penny.
Oh, it's free too.
That is free too.
It is free. And then, of course, the Skinny on Sports podcast. We podcast the show daily. So if you miss one of the days, you want to check us out, it's easy. KADSAM.com or anywhere podcasts drop. How are you today, Jared?
I am fantastic. Feeling like Friday. I was saying that earlier. It feels like
I know
Friday.
it does.
Like, all right, football.
Just because
Woo!
of the football game, right?
Yeah. Then I always like, going to the game, especially a home game, going to the game, watching the Big Elks win, going home, watching the Big Elks win again, sleep in a little bit on Saturday. Not this case. That's okay.
Not today.
That's okay. It's kind of nice to have a Friday where we're not rushed to get out the door and get stuff done. And
I told my wife this morning, she goes, well, what do you think today's going to be like? I said, crazy, because it's a game day. It's the first home. It's amazing how fast these days go. Like, as soon as we get off of here, cut the weather, and then it's like next thing you know, it's 3 o'clock and we're going to set up, or 2 o'clock and we're setting our stuff up, and then rushing back, trying to get news done, weather done, sports done. For me, logs done, so that just in case something crazy happens and the game goes past midnight, which there's no way it should, but you never know, right? That we'll at least have radio playing and not just dead air.
Right.
So it just feels like it's – I know we're here. We're both here from 8 o'clock on, before 8 o'clock today, until we go to the field at like 5. So
yeah,
like
5.
Those 9 hours feel like they're about 4.
It flies.
Yes, it does. Okay, tell everybody the scam that has hit the rodeo.
Sad. Well, a lot of like most events, everything's going online. So you can go online and buy tickets to the Elk City Rodeo of Champions. And apparently there is a fake website floating around that looks like the website that you would buy these tickets for the rodeo. And people are getting scammed. I don't know by how much, what the magnitude is. So the committee, they've kind of put a text blast. I got a few texts last night about it. I tried to get it to our morning guys this morning to talk about it, to get people to know that you want to buy these tickets at only one place. It's elkcityrodeo.com. That's the website, elkcityrodeo.com. I'm going to go ahead and just put that on our Facebook page.
Do that.
I'm going to go ahead and do that. So you can feel safe by clicking on that and knowing that you're going to go directly to the reputable website, the official website, to buy tickets to the best rodeo in western Oklahoma, elkcityrodeo.com. Don't fall for the other one. If it looks fishy, it probably is, okay? We want to avoid people putting in all their credit card information and or debit card bank info and then losing that and getting scammed. So elkcityrodeo.com. That's the only website that you can buy tickets to this spectacular event.
Yeah, and that's the major problem. First off, you may end up with a ticket that's not real for the rodeo.
Right.
But honestly, the rodeo itself and the expense to the rodeo itself isn't the major problem. It's the fact that you're giving up all of your banking information and liable to have your identity stolen for much larger purchases aside from just the rodeo itself,
Which is
right?
a huge headache. I've swiped a card and
Where it had one of those skimmer deals.
it wasn't necessarily that. It was at a restaurant. I won't say where. It really wasn't their fault. They just kind of got hacked or something. I'm not sure. But we were made aware that, hey, your info has been hacked or your banking, and we had to.
Why can't we say the name? It's not here anymore, is it?
No. I'm just trying to make sure we're not ruffling feathers.
Well, don't do it. Don't do it.
By saying his name or the name of the. We'll call it. I'll just do it like this. We'll call it Montana M's. Montana M's.
Yeah, that's what
is
I
that,
thought.
Is
Yeah,
that
I remember that. Well, the reason I know this is
no, that's too obvious. How about M. Mike's?
that
There we
happened
go.
to my wife. The exact same place.
Same place. So
Yes.
we were probably part of the same scam.
Yes.
It sucks. It's not fun. So
Yeah, the headache of trying to figure that all out. You
Yeah.
just don't want any part of it.
No.
So go to elkcityrodeo.com, all lowercase, all together, no spaces, no nothing. Just type in elkcityrodeo.com, and you will avoid the headache of the dastardly scheme that's going on.
in the process of putting it on our socials as we speak.
Okay.
So if you see a Paragon Facebook page, Skinny on Sports, KCO, whatever, and it's sharing the rodeo ticket link, it's legit.
That's the one you need to go to.
Yes.
Okay, did you see what happened in Nebraska yesterday, Jared?
I did see that.
So, yeah, you're talking about the volleyball game. That's not what I'm talking about.
Oh. You're talking about the other. Okay.
I'm talking about the homeboy that got pulled over in his Ford Taurus escorting a full-sized Watusi bull to a parade. Have you seen this video?
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it.
It's
but
unbelievable.
I need to look this one up.
He has taken the top. It's just anyway. Kudos to this guy, and he got pulled over. I don't know for what. He had the bull muzzled. Maybe the seatbelt wasn't on the bull, but he's even got a fence panel as a rail outside the door on the passenger side to try to keep the bull in. And the very best part of this whole entire video is the last camera angle you get is kind of the back third of the passenger side of the car, and it is just completely covered in poop. Or guacamole, as they'll say at the rodeo this weekend. The clowns or whatever. Oh, it's awesome. It's just not something you see every day, I'll tell you that. Another thing that you don't see every day.
Yeah, you told me this, and I'm thinking, wait a minute. Well,
have you seen videos of this yet?
I haven't seen it. I'm going to look it up when I'm done posting all this stuff. I'm thinking, well, he's not breaking a law, is he? Is there a law in the state of Nebraska? You cannot have bovine in the front seat of your
I did
car?
not actually listen to the news story. I just kind of saw it. I guess if I'd have listened to the words, maybe I'd have the answer for you.
He got off with a warning.
Yeah.
There's other bigger crimes out there.
It's pretty funny because they actually pull him over in downtown, I'm going to guess Norfolk, Nebraska, because I see that on some different signs here.
Okay.
And there's one view where it's like shooting back across the street, and there's all these people in their office building just looking through the windows like, what is going on? That's awesome. Very, very good. The jokes, the puns were coming. He wouldn't have got pulled over if he'd have been in the cow pool lane. Maybe he was headed to Memorial Stadium.
Yeah.
That's where everybody else in Nebraska was. You know how I know there's not a lot going on in Nebraska?
No, that was the joke that came to my mind last night.
$92,000 at the volleyball game. No, what an amazing atmosphere, an amazing accomplishment that was last night. The largest crowd ever to watch a women's sporting event occurred on Memorial Field, or in Memorial Stadium last night, in the Nebraska Cornhusker lady volleyball team. I mean, just wow. That's the only word that came to my mind when I started seeing videos of it is just wow.
That was pretty cool. Pretty cool. They played really good volleyball at Nebraska. They won a couple titles.
One could say they're now a volleyball school since their football team has hit the skids.
I mean, maybe it's like, well, it's been a while since we've seen a win in this stadium. Let's get some volleyball going in here. Okay, jokes aside, they're embracing Nebraska, embracing volleyball like OU has embraced softball as far as women's sports is concerned. Now, I know Nebraska's not as dominant as OU softball has been, but they've won. I just looked it up. Since 2000, they've won 1, 2, 3, 4 national titles. I mean, that's not bad. That's success right there. So there's a lot of support for it. It's pretty cool.
So
who did they even play? Did you say?
I honestly don't know.
Was it a scrimmage? Who did they even play?
I honestly, Iowa maybe.
I'm looking right now.
Iowa Zach, $10. What's that from?
That's Saved by the Bell.
Yes, it is. Oh yeah, Nebraska Omaha. That's right. Because here's one of the cool things that they did. They actually gave some money to those, like the University of Nebraska of Omaha and Carn. You know what I mean? They spread the wealth.
Oh, that's cool.
Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
For being able to get all that together.
That's cool.
So it immediately makes you leap to mind. Okay, what's next? what could be the next big thing to try to break this record.
Has to be women's sporting event.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I know a lot of people around here, when they saw this, I guarantee you immediately took the leap of, why not a softball game on Owen Field?
Right. Kind of hard though, right? The logistics,
that's my point. That it's going to be hard to
left field would be hard.
It's going to be hard to break this record in a football stadium for about anything because of the dimensions of the volleyball court. Because when you look the way that thing was set up, there was tens of thousands of people that were on the field.
Yeah.
At field level, being able to kind of look up at the game or what have you. Where a softball field is just too big. I mean, it's hard to have a stadium big enough to be able to play that game on the field,
right,
and then also have that many in the stands.
I think if you generate enough, if you're generating enough excitement and interest in breaking a record like this, I think just, what's another successful women's sport at OU? Gymnastics. You see what I'm saying? It's like, okay, hey, listen up, OU fans. Let's break this record. Nebraska can have this record. The very successful women's gymnastics team will do a thing. I don't know if they could do it outside. You'd be risking bad weather, but that's the only thing that I could come, because you would definitely have enough space on the field. That's the only sport I can think of. What other sport? Because you have to think of how to get that many people to come to a stadium to watch something. Softball, because of the dimensions, would be incredibly hard to pull off.
Well, and to have a field that big.
Right. So what else? What other? So I think gymnastics.
A stadium that big.
There's a lot of success in gymnastics.
Well, I think the easy answer is the sport is the game that was just overtaken by this, and that is a World Cup final in like the Rose Bowl.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, soccer, that seems like the natural one.
Right.
Because you don't really have to change anything, and you get interest outside of just, say, a university or even just this country with soccer. Mm-hmm. But if you're like a not a gimmick, but like a thing like this, gosh, you'd have to think something. Is it UConn basketball? Problem is with that, outdoors in the winter, it's hard to get a very nice day. It's hard to guarantee a nice day. Could there be some of the women's hockey? We've seen those games outdoors.
Yeah.
So that's my point is, I don't think anything else is happening to even come close to what happened last night at Nebraska. And that's where kudos to the Cornhusker fans for not only thinking of this idea, but following through with it and participating and breaking the record. And the truth of it is, there aren't very many programs nationally that would have the ability to make this happen. But like you said, the Huskers have been so successful for such a large period of time here that they've built that. They built their place in that fan base, which is one of the best ones there is. And they showed up and showed out. It was fantastic.
It's cool to see from Nebraska, their fans. Outside Nebraska, everyone thinks, well, they're just football fans. They wouldn't show for anything else other than football. They have this incredible sellout streak for their football team, even in the bad times. And so it's pretty cool to see that they're just more than just football fans.
Absolutely.
They're Nebraska fans.
Absolutely.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I mean, we're getting rid of a little bit on text message. I'm not sitting here telling you that even if you could play a softball game in Owen Field, that OU fans would show up 92,000 strong. I'm not even telling you that. That's why I think this is such a unique thing that Nebraska did.
Could they fit 92 in there? I guess
no, you can only fit 86.
But I'm talking like on the field. Could you fit another 10?
I don't think so.
Out in
Not
right
with
field?
the size of the.
You could fit some. You could put some stands out in right
Maybe,
center and right
but you're not
field,
going to get
but
10
left
grand.
field would be a problem. You're not
Yeah.
putting anybody in left field.
That doesn't go just in the stands of the field.
It's intriguing, but it's hard to see it work.
I don't think. Well, here's the deal: you don't do it to try to break a record. You just do it because it'd be cool.
You're right.
Yeah, the goal of OU softball in Owen Field won't be to break this Nebraska record because that's not going to happen. There's not a way to do it.
No.
And so instead, the goal is to get 50,000 watching a softball game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's really what the goal would be, and just kind of the cool backdrop of playing in that stadium. I promise you, Patty Gasso has already brought this up to Joe Castiglione. I promise you, she has. Like, hey, you know what's even cooler than Love's Field? Owen Field. Yeah. Now, kudos to the Nebraska people. That was awesome. It's awesome to plan something like that, and it's even cooler that it didn't just flop.
Yeah, no,
And not what it was intended
But
to be.
I've heard this. They've touted it up for a while. I've heard them talk about this is the day that we're going to do this.
Been going for a long time, and they showed up and showed out.
Probably looking up the same thing I've looked up.
Is that what you're doing? Ticket prices for that game last night?
Yeah, I get future games. I can't get current prices. I mean, that's a good question. Were they just giving them away, or were they just $5 a pop? What were they? I don't know. I'm not
$27 to $405 on SeatGeek.
There, I got $25 for adults, $5 for children.
Okay, yeah, and some of those obviously were more
They
expensive.
They sold 82,000 seats in 3 days.
It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing.
Pretty cool.
All right, Jared. College football, in my mind, starts tonight. I know there were a couple games last week. Whatever. It starts tonight. It's Labor Day weekend. It's Thursday of Labor Day weekend. It's college football time. And we get treated with what we thought might be a pretty good matchup. Florida going to Utah, a return trip from last year in which the Utes went down and lost in the swamp. It's kind of a surprising loss for a team that turned out to be as good as they were. Yesterday afternoon, it was revealed that Utah quarterback Cam Rising will be doubtful for the game tonight. Coming off the ACL tear that he had in the Rose Bowl against Penn State last year, I guess not quite ready to return. That means junior Bryson Barnes expected to get the start with redshirt freshman Nate Johnson. Seeing some snaps, it says change of pace, so that means to me he's a runner, not a thrower. Does that make sense?
Sure.
I would think.
Yeah.
So I mentioned an amazing stat about Florida. You want to just fire out a guess at how long it's been since the University of Florida played a non-conference road game outside the state of Florida?
20 years. Has it been 20 years?
20 years would be what, 2003?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been 20 years. It's been way longer than that.
25?
Higher.
35.
Just a tick lower.
32.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, 32 years.
32 years?
September 21st, 1991.
Way to really challenge yourself there, Florida.
Now, here's the deal. You can make snide comments like that, but guess what? Every other year they go to Tallahassee and play Florida State, which since 1991 has been a hell of a challenge most of those years.
Yeah, that's true.
And Miami here and there as well. So it's not like they've been playing Bethune-Cookman every year.
Right,
only.
yeah. It's not like Sanford or anything.
Yeah, they actually
I'm sure they played them, but yeah.
They've got Florida State on there, which just happens to be in the state of Florida. But still, that's an amazing 11,667 days. You know where they went? Did I say that already?
No. I can only imagine.
They lost, so maybe why they quit. Spurrier said, nope.
Where'd they go?
The Carrier Dome in Syracuse, New York.
Oh, really?
They lost 38-21 to the Qs back on September 21st of 1991. So I guess if you want to do the research to see the last time they won a non-conference road game outside of the state of Florida, we'll have to continue the search since they lost that one. I still, with the struggles that Florida had last year, losing Anthony Richardson as well, I think it's hard, right? Is it hard for you? It is for me anyway. It's hard for me to see Florida being able, even without Rising, Florida being able to go out there and beat Utah on their home field.
I mean, it gives them a chance without Rising. Utah's still, a 4.5-point favorite. I'm sure that's – I don't know what that –
down from like 9.
Yeah, I'm sure that that did drop. But it's still Florida, though, in a sense where I think, okay, it's still Florida in the SEC. They got it done last year, but I know that was with a little bit more talent. And then they had a disappointing season after that. So, but that's disappointing for Utah, and that's a little concerning. I mean, it's been how long for Cam Rising? He's still not
about
ready.
9 months. I mean, that would have happened on January 1st. So here we are, 9 months later. And it's not like you can. It's not like you can use the excuse though for Utah. Oh, they're just holding him out because it's a nobody opponent. I mean, this is an SEC
Florida, like I said,
team.
Yeah, it's still it could be like any SEC team. They could come in. Like Florida's had their success, and we think one day they could get back to it, just like Tennessee is currently doing right now. So I'm not necessarily giving up on Florida, even though I think it could be a really good game. That's what I'm getting at. Either result wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be shocked if Utah lost this game. They just beat people.
We are
up.
here tomorrow.
All right, fire out a burrito
You
bet.
think so?
It's
Am
not.
I that confident?
Are you? Billy Napier.
You know why I
turning them
asked
around?
you about the Western Oklahoma Realty Pick'em if it started tonight? Because I
you
was
wanted
ready
to pick
switch.
Florida.
I was ready to switch.
Speaking of Western Oklahoma Realty College Pick'em, we got 2 days. We're nearing the 100 mark. 87 as we speak. Western Oklahoma Realty College Pick'em on the Skinny on Sports face. I put out another link yesterday. The link got 2. Listening got 6 extra, at least in the timing of it. So, come play.
Let's get to that 100.
$400 winner if you win. Get in there. Spread's 4.5. Utah is favored by 4.5 tonight. All right, let's shift our focus to something we really haven't. I've been putting it off, and now here we are 2 days before the game to really start talking about Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. I think part of that's because there's so much up in the air. It's hard to kind of know. But give me some players, whatever that might be, that you're most excited about seeing for both OU and OSU coming up on Saturday.
We'll start with OU. I am excited about McCullough. Deshaun. I'll keep saying Deshaun. Deshaun McCullough. I'm excited to see exactly how he works in Brent Venables' design defense in that cheetah position, how effective he is. He showed some bright spots in the spring game. Definitely looked as athletic as they can get. Interested to see will they put him down on the edge to rush? Will they back him off? Will they show rush, then back him off? Can he still make plays? So it's just, to answer your question, it's guys I'm excited to see. It's kind of a two-part answer, like new guys I'm excited to see.
Oh, yeah.
Because we know what Stutzman is. I'm always going to be excited about him because we saw what he was and his trajectory. Can he get better than what he was last year? That's pretty dang good. Even on that 6-win team, he was pretty good and he was very effective. So if he can get better, which most people think he can or will, we'd hope so, he'll be incredibly fun to watch. So for me, though, is McCullough and how they move him around in that defense and how effective he can be. Go ahead.
No, it's funny because I think if you ask OU fans this question, almost every one of them are going to come up with somebody on defense.
Yeah. Well, there's
outside of Jackson Arnold.
Well, sure.
Which I think people are excited to see just what he is, even though he's going to be a backup, at least to start. But I think there's a whole host of people, both that we have never seen and also that we've seen a little bit of and want more. Stutzman's obviously in that category. The last impression he left against Florida State, he was a man. He was what you were hoping you'd see for his first 2 years at OU. And finally, it's like he figured it out in the Venables system. He was all over the field that night against Florida State, making plays all over the field. Is that now the baseline, right? And then get better from there, or is this going to be a year to try to work back to where he got at the end of last year? You're hoping not. You're hoping that's where he starts, and then sky's the limit from there.
Right.
The guy right beside him, everybody wanted to see more of last year, and he has himself said he wasn't ready, and that's Jaron Kanak. What the promise that he showed just in small flashes last year. Can he put that together for more time on the field? Obviously, McCullough's there. And then, for me, almost the guy, and there's more that I'll get to, but having said those names, there's two guys, both from the state of Oklahoma, that I'm really intrigued to see. One, does Ethan Downs finally break out? You've seen him. He looks humongous. And the natural comparison has always been there to Dan Cody. Both white guys, both defensive ends, both from Oklahoma, right? I mean, that's just always been a natural comparison to make. Can he make that leap that we saw from Dan Cody? And then the other guy is Trace Ford. What Trace Ford do you get? Do you get the Trace Ford that was healthy at OSU, that was one of the best defensive players in the conference and on a trajectory to be one of the better ones in the country? Or do you get the ones that's been hampered by injury? All reports say that he's looked phenomenal in the fall camp and then he's as healthy as he's been in a couple of years. If that's true, then I know the build-up from McCullough was so huge, and rightfully so as a freshman All-American or what have you at Indiana. But if you get Trace Ford, that is an unbelievable addition to what has been sorely lacking in Norman, and that's a pass rush, a defensive line. I don't know, but, man, if you do, I mean, we've all seen him and how dynamic he was able to be at Stillwater at times in his career. And then, of course, you've got to go backwards. And Peyton Bowen, PJ.
How much will we see of Bowen?
I think you're going to see. I think you're going to see a ton of Peyton Bowen.
You think so?
Absolutely. I think you're going to see.
Too good to keep off the field, kind of.
Yes, I think no doubt about that. I think he is the one that you're going to see the most of. And then, of course, PJ Adebaware. Is he just going to be kind of situational pass rusher? But then I thought it was. I think it's a good sign that at least to start, Gentry Williams was able to fight off any comers at that other corner on the other side of Woody. But he's a guy we haven't seen a ton of. Seen him make an interception when he's been out there, but we hadn't seen a ton of him. So, it's all on the defensive side. The offensive side, you feel like there's enough guys. I mean, that'll be kind of, at least this week, should be for the first 4 weeks, the offense will be okay enough to win these games if the defense is improved. And here's the truth of it. If the defense can't be improved, year 2 under Venables, getting some of his guys, quote-unquote, his guys in,
right,
then there is major, major, major issues ahead.
I mean, the common thing we've always said year after year is, well, the defense can't be as bad as last year.
Well, if it's as bad as last year,
we're in some trouble.
And I'm not even kidding you when I say this. If it's as bad as last year, I don't care what the record is. If it's as bad as last year, Oklahoma is on the wrong path.
Yeah.
With the wrong coach.
Right. 100%. 100%. And you would think that, and you would hope that it would not be as bad as last year. Again,
oh my Lord,
saying that what we just said over and over again. But I guess here's my optimism, if you're looking for any, is the fact that a lot of those names you mentioned are Venable guys, right? He's gone in the portal. He's brought in a lot of his guys that he feels like, or dudes that he feels like can run his style of defense. Obviously, recruiting, the uptick on the defensive side has been a heavy emphasis on the defensive side, most recently with David Stone. I know that doesn't factor into what we're talking about now, but Bowman, or Bowen, excuse me, absolutely does. And Bowman. Is Bowman
Billy Bowman's a junior.
So that, I guess, overall, just anxious to see all those. To answer a broad answer for your question of who you're excited to see, it sounds like we're really excited to see a bunch of these defensive guys that are Venables guys.
Yeah,
and McCullough, we're bringing him in from Indiana.
Yeah, but Stutzman, Downs,
right? Those were
guys that have been there,
right? Have they acclimated to
get better?
The Venables
get
defense
what you're supposed to
get
be.
better and get what we thought you're going to be
right.
coming out of high school.
All right, on the OSU side, for me, it's Ollie Gordon.
All right, well, mine too.
Is it really? it's Ollie Gordon.
That's all you've heard about is how good this guy is.
And he never got a chance last year.
Right.
The last game, it was raining. Was that West Virginia maybe?
Yeah. It was,
ended up in a loss, but he got to play.
I think that was in Stillwater. But
it was in Stillwater. I think
raining.
it was against West Virginia, raining.
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
If I remember right. And you just – it felt like he made plays even in the muck of that game. I can't wait to see him. Ollie Gordon he just looks the part, right? Mm-hmm. He looks the part of a guy that can really be a difference maker. And so that was an easy one for me. Give me Ollie Gordon.
Me too.
And then on the other side of the ball, and this is, we know this guy more because we've seen him play a little bit more, but still not near enough for my taste. Colin Oliver. Is that who you had too?
All right, let's just move on.
Let Colin Oliver play the snaps that he's supposed to play.
Yeah, because he will be the anchor of this defense.
See, a lot of people think it's Kendall Daniels, and it's like the OSU coaching staff has done such a disservice in Colin Oliver's first 2 years, especially last year, that people forget how damn good that guy is. Mm-hmm. The guy was a freshman All-American. And then last year, it's like he got lost in the shuffle of quote-unquote depth when you don't have your best player out there. Your best player is I guess, is the depth on the second team, and he gets 25 snaps a game. Come on, man. Get him out there and let him terrorize people.
Right.
Because he can do it. We've all seen him able to do it.
Yeah.
Who's somebody on each team that you not really talking about right now, that by the end of the year is going to become a household name? And it could be for whatever reason. Young, it can be because transfer, it can be whatever.
I'm buying into a little bit of the hype the last couple of weeks from hearing Coach Venables, seeing the dude get a scholarship.
Oh, no.
And that's Freeman, because I think they're trying to find that guy that's going to fill in what Stoops has done for so long, that little guy who finds open space, we've seen very little flashes of it. But he's I say household name, maybe household in the state of Oklahoma, where everyone's going to be rooting for this kid. So I think they're going to utilize him a lot, and get him more involved.
Okay, I'll take Tyler Guyton.
Okay,
offensive line. I think you're going to. I think he's going to kind of the Anton Harrison route. No, not really talked about, and then all of a sudden you look up, and now he's projected to be in the top couple of rounds of the draft. Transfers from TCU. He looks. I think he's going to get his shot, and he's got all the tools. In Stillwater, this one's a young guy for me that had all the potential in the world as a recruit. Saw glimpses last year. I think it's Talon Shetron, the receiver from Edmond Santa Fe. I think he's kind of one of the next ones in that line that has been pretty successful up there on the outside as receiver. So I'm going to take Talon Shetron. That will be the hype for him going into his third year next year is going to be off the charts because of what he does this year.
Yeah, I really don't have an answer for OSU. I mean, I can get on board with that too, because Mike, I've always wondered, because OSU they've produced a lot of really good wide receivers, and so there's Brennan Presley who we know, right, but who's going to be the next one? Who's going to be the next wide receiver standout from OSU? And that could be the guy.
And another nod to, I may be buying what Pat Jones is selling after us a little bit too much when he saw, but Yeah, I think Bowman is there, and I think Bowman is starting. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But watch out for Garrett Rangel.
Yeah, he was kind of put in a bad spot a few times last year.
Watch out for him as the guy that kind of wrestles that job away.
How accurate is this depth chart I'm looking at? Is he number 2?
Yes.
Oh, well, this isn't accurate.
Who's it have number 2?
Gundy.
Gundy? Yeah, come on, man. There's no way. It'll be Rangel.
Yeah.
Rangel will be the guy that gets the first chance. If something happens to Bowman,
right.
or if he's not successful the way you think he is. All right, give me your most optimistic season for both Oklahoma and Oklahoma State.
For OU, I'll go. My most optimistic here is 10-2 with losses to Texas and TCU. And those are 2 conference losses that keep them out of the Big 12 championship. I know I put them in the championship game yesterday, but after sleeping on it, I guess maybe I'm taking a step back. But that's my optimistic.
That's as optimistic as you can get.
10-win season, sure. It's pretty good.
Your most optimistic season you can possibly come up with in your mind is not even making the Big 12 title game.
Sunshine.
Well, no, that's the whole point of it.
Well, the most optimistic would be 12-0.
Okay, that's better.
I'm trying to be realistic too.
Well, that's your problem. That's your problem with answering this question. I knew you wouldn't be good at this answer. You'll be great at the next one.
What are you? 12-2? 12?
No. 11-1.
11-1.
11 and here the most optimistic I can come up with, and a big part of this is because the schedule is so bad.
Yeah,
that schedule is not good. I know people want to say
that isn't easy.
It's not very good. They have added 3 Group of 5 teams to it.
Right.
Yeah, I know they're in the Big 12 now, but they weren't a year ago, and so half your schedule is Group of 5. Yeah. So 11-1, losing to Texas, and then getting revenge and beating Texas in the conference title game, wherever that puts you when it comes to playoff. OU will be down that pecking order so far because of the schedule and the awful non-conference schedule. And so you mentioned it yesterday. Can the Big 12 get in with one loss? I think Texas can, and they may be the only ones because of the Alabama game.
Right.
For OSU,
and just keep in mind, for any those who don't follow OU, this was supposed to be a year they played Georgia, and then things changed. So they were scrambling to find. They always traditionally schedule.
Yeah, they had one,
a marquee non-conference game.
You know what? I heard the guys say this in the afternoon earlier this week. Why didn't they just move that to a neutral site? Because the reason why it got canceled is because there was going to be no guaranteed return game.
So just
to Athens.
Play it one time.
Just play it one time at a neutral site and move on. That way nobody gets the – I wish they'd have done that.
That would have been fun. Like down at Jerry World or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly
Sugar
right.
Bowl something.
Mm-hmm.
Or a Mercedes.
Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta. Whatever it could be. There's plenty of spots for it, but it just didn't happen. Yeah. For Oklahoma State, win every game. You don't play Texas, right?
That's right.
So what, 10-2?
That's what I had.
10-2 and get into the conference title game?
If 2 went 2, no, my 2 are again conference losses.
Mm-hmm.
BYU and Kansas State. I kind of went down
Okay,
but I mean you could swap those like OU and Kansas.
It'll just come into there will be all kinds of different tiebreak scenarios.
Sure, but 10-2 is my best case scenario for OSU.
That's what I'm going to say as well.
Right.
And that
they do avoid Tech, they avoid Texas, they avoid
TCU, right?
TCU, correct? Very, very. I mean, and again,
listen, both of these schedules are so easy.
Yeah, and we go into this OSU season much like what was that, 21?
No, and that's another thing.
No clue about them, and they turned up
zero expectations. What happens when Mike Gundy has zero expectations?
He loves it.
He
thrives
exceeds
on it.
them.
Yeah,
almost always.
Yeah,
almost always. I mean, it would be cool as hell if we ended up with the last season in the Big 12, a Bedlam Big 12 title game.
That'd be fun.
That'd be cool.
That'd be real fun.
I mean, I'm clearly rooting for.
As fun as OU Texas was a few years ago, that would probably be a lot of fun for in-state Oklahoma.
Oh, I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Almost in a lot of ways more awesome because we're going to get to see OU Texas every year.
And they should play it at the same place they started Bedlam, and that would be Guthrie, right? They should just move it.
I don't think you get Jerry to agree with that.
Can we get to the Lazy E Arena, maybe?
Maybe go play it at Memorial Field in Nebraska. Try to break a record.
That's all right.
Don't forget, tonight, Big Elk TV. Busy, busy, busy. Softball at Bethany, 5 o'clock. I think is what I saw in the Game Changer for the time. That is a matchup of the teams tied for second in District 4A1 with 2 losses. So somebody's going to be all alone in second place right behind Weatherford after tonight. Elk City and Bethany, 5 o'clock, Big Elk TV. And, of course, we got a 6:15 pregame ahead of the 7 o'clock kick for the Elk City Elks. Home opener tonight against Bridge Creek. Both teams come in 1-0. We'll talk about that one here in just a second. All right, give me your doomsday scenario in Norman.
Very similar to last year. 6 wins, 6 losses. Loss to maybe someone like Central Florida, Texas, OSU, BYU, TCU, even on the road at Lawrence, Kansas. That just kind of snowballs from there. And I know nobody has any faith in Cincinnati, but I'm a little apprehensive about it because it's Cincinnati's first Big 12 game. It's 4th game of the year. It's at Cincinnati. If they were maybe a tick better, that may make me a little bit more scared, but there's always that's like, okay, they're going to be jacked up and ready to go.
Yeah, thank goodness that one's an 11 o'clock game.
Yeah.
If you're an OU fan.
But they're going crazy. It's our first Big 12 game.
Yeah, it'd have been a lot worse at 7.
Yeah.
So you can see it blackout.
Right.
Everybody raging drunk.
Right. But just frankly, 6-6, not because of who they've lost to, just because they just didn't get better. All those questions we had about defense, it's just much of the same, which would lead to something like this. And then, man, how embarrassing would it be 6-6 against a schedule like that?
Oh, yeah. That's
worst case. Worst case, sneak into a Pop-Tart Bowl or whatever and lose it.
I think, defense showing little to no improvement.
Yeah.
I don't think they can lose 6 games against the schedule.
No, but
7-5. Here's the deal:
case,
7-5 is about like 6-7 last year in my mind against who they're going to play. Right. And to put real salt in the wound of that terrible season, losing to both Texas and Oklahoma State on your way out of a conference that you've dominated for years. Yeah. What about up in Stillwater?
About the same, 6-6. That South Alabama team is not bad. That's coming into Stillwater on the 16th. Easy to overlook them and get beat. And then they get Kansas State and Kansas back-to-back, albeit in Stillwater. Still probably the best Kansas State and Kansas have been good at the same time in a long time. That's a tough ask. There's OU, Central Florida, BYU. Those are games that are almost 50-50 at this point because of the unknowns of Oklahoma State. But worst case is 6-6 for me.
Yeah, I have a hard time. I can't even make it worst case losing any of the first 3.
Nah,
Arizona State they're like 3rd in the country.
They're bad.
With replacing new players. They're like 75 new players. And Colorado's number 1, setting a record at 86. So that turnover there is huge. They are not playing for a bowl game. They self-imposed a bowl ban this year. Smart move, by the way, for Arizona State to do it this year when they're going to be terrible. So kudos to them. I would have asked the coach, or at least told the coach I was going to do that. Arizona State's clueless in the upper management part of their athletic department, so they didn't. So I just can't see them losing any of the first 3 games. But then here's where doomsday starts. You go up to Ames, struggle, and lose that one. K-State is good, like people think they might be. You can lose that one. And then things kind of start to snowball like they did for Oklahoma State last year. That's the doomsday scenario, and obviously losing the last Bedlam has to be involved in any doomsday scenario. Yeah, 6-6, 5-7 would be just one of the just horrible.
The Kansas.
I'll be honest with you. I think there's less of a chance that happening in Stillwater than there is in Norman.
Right.
The doomsday scenario happening. Just because of a big part of that is Mike Gundy's track record when he goes into seasons with 0 expectations. We got no idea what Venables is as a head coach yet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We do with Gundy. We see this time and time again. It's like he plays possum. When nobody thinks they're going to be any good, here they are. And so to me, in a season like this, I would have said it was easier for the Doomsday last year than it is this year just because of the season they had in 2021. A whisker away from playing in the college football playoff. You know, those are when the letdowns come.
Mm-hmm.
The letdowns don't normally come after a bad season.
The Kansas State, just the timing of the Kansas State game kind of eerily reminds me of the timing of TCU last year. You know what I mean?
Difference is it's at home.
It is at home, but what if they come out, they get like a 17-0 lead on them, and then lose it, and then watch Kansas State go on a run?
Yeah, but it's also you got a week off after Iowa State.
Yeah, you get to prepare for it,
and it's a Friday. That'll be interesting.
That is going to be a Friday night game.
Friday night. It's a Friday night.
Are we playing?
No, Elk City plays Thursday. OSU plays Friday. Okay. OU Texas is Saturday of that week.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's a wild week.
Oh boy.
I think it's Elk City and Chickasha. I think the 5th. OSU Kansas State the 6th. OU Texas the 7th.
Nice.
All right, speaking of Elk City, Big Elks tonight, Bridge Creek. What are you looking for from Elk City?
Much of the same. With slight improvement as far as the turnovers and penalties are concerned. You want to clean that up from last week. So those were the notes that we thought that Coach would take, and he kind of confirmed that with us. And just doesn't have to be flashy. Bridge Creek, let's face it, is not a good team. We know what we're getting coming in here. So continue to run the ball good. Maybe expand the pass. See what more we can do in the passing game. Maybe not out of necessity. Just see what we got, and let's get some of those young guys in there and stay healthy. I don't expect a very exciting game, to be quite honest with you. How about you?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough for those poor kids last night at their team meeting. Unfortunate enough to ask to go speak to the team. I appreciate it. I thank Coach Maynard for asking that. I was like,
did you know you're a motivational speaker?
I was trying to figure out why I was there. Right, like they were looking, and the kids were looking at me like, "Who's the fat guy?" He didn't. Started looking at the. Then
you started talking to go, "Oh, that's that guy."
Yeah, they started looking at the offensive lineman, going, "He must be one of them."
Is he a new coach?
Little did they know what it looked like when I was actually their age. No, but seriously, it was cool. I mean, obviously, never done anything like that, and I didn't use the old radio joke.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Where you say, hey, I'm not used to crowds listening to me speak because I never get to know if anybody's actually listening, and then turn your back and that kind of thing.
I'm the same way. I can't do it in crowds. It drives me crazy.
But I obviously won't say what Zach told his team in the last of that team meeting, but it's not too dissimilar to what he told us yesterday, and that is it doesn't matter who the opponent is right now, good or bad. What matters is the Elk City Elks continuing to improve ahead of September the 29th. Give yourself every opportunity to get better ahead of September 29th, because he didn't use that date, but I will. That's when everything matters. That's when every game starts mattering, when you take that trip down I-40 to the Tornado Bowl. And don't miss an opportunity to continue to get better, because you're going to need to continue to get better if you want to have the season that you want to have. So, no, Billy, there is not video of that speech. Everybody was told to put their phones up, thankfully. Thankfully. But that's tonight, 7 o'clock, 6:15 for the pregame, head of the Big Elks and the Bobcats. Other games, Jared.
By the way, Cash is October 5th.
Okay, so it's Cash here. That's right. Then Chickasha is the next Thursday.
The next Thursday.
Okay.
Yes.
I couldn't remember the
Thursdays. Yes.
I couldn't remember the order of those games.
Oh my goodness. Man, I took a bad day to take off work. Friday the 13th.
I wasn't good thinking. Did you see what happened yesterday?
No.
There was an arrest made.
Are we going back to Nebraska? Because there was a Nebraska arrest.
No.
That wasn't yesterday. Where are
we
we
back to last Friday.
No, last Friday.
In the events at Choctaw.
Oh, yes. I saw the arrest. Yeah.
The arrest was made of a 15-year-old kid that had zero to do with Del City.
Right. Yeah.
And we talked about that on Monday. People do better, but the team and the coaches had zero to do with that. And it turns out that's true. Now they get a chance, hopefully, to kind of start to put that past them tonight, hosting Booker T. Washington on their home field at Del City.
Right. Yeah.
There's also the battle in Norman North and Norman. That will be on Owen Field, by the way.
Cool. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Why?
Norman North versus Norman.
No, stay off the turf. Keep it fresh for Saturday.
Well, there's a reason why they're playing on Thursday, be my guess. Also, one of the 4A1 versus 4A2 games again this week. 4A1 did not fare very well last week. I don't think they're going to fare very well this week either. Bethany plays John Marshall. And then the game of the night, Heritage Hall hosting Millwood.
That's just for entertainment purposes.
That's an awesome game.
Awesome game.
Awesome game. But what you need to do is tune in to Big Elk TV. 7 o'clock kick. The Elks home opener against the Bridge Creek Bobcats. Hopefully, about an hour in, you know who's going to win. And at that point, if you want to start putting on your second TV to something else, maybe turning our sound down but keeping the picture up and listening to something else, that's fine. Just keep us up there, though, throughout the evening. Everybody have a great Thursday.
You've been listening to the Skinny on Sports podcast with Aaron Cow. Be sure to hit that subscribe button to get alerts of when the latest podcast is available. Thanks for listening.
That ball is blistered to right. Way